That's right. Trans lives matter, and they matter so much that apparently you can storm a Capitol building with impunity. I think some J6 protesters would have a thing or two to say about that. We're going to take a look at what happened on, I kid you not, February 6th, F6. We're going to see why the left thinks they can keep getting away with their blatant hypocrisy and why they're sorely mistaken. You are not going to want to miss this. The state of Oklahoma is as red as it gets. All 5 of Oklahoma's U.S. House seats are Republican, as well as both U.S. Senate seats, the governor, and it has supermajorities in both houses of the state legislature. And when you have that dominance, you get governance like this.
We must protect our most vulnerable, our children. After all, minors can't vote, can't purchase alcohol, can't purchase cigarettes. We shouldn't allow a minor to get a permanent gender-altering surgery in Oklahoma. That's why I'm calling for the legislature.
That was Governor Kevin Stitt announcing the ban of sex change operations for anyone under the age of 18 in the state of Oklahoma. However, that did not sit well with Oklahoma's trans community, who showed up in droves to occupy the state capitol building in a mass show of force. Ironically, the storming and taking over the Capitol building was, I kid you not, on February 6th. That's right. We have yet another threat to democracy, an F6 that has once again risen up as the single worst attack on American soil since 9/11. Or was it? Perusing the headlines, you'd think that it was nothing more than a mere protest. The Tulsa World went with this headline: Transgender rights protesters gather at Oklahoma Capitol ahead of State of the State. Well, isn't that special? News 9 led with this: protesters gather in response to slew of bills banning trans care. Oh, that's what you call it. These are protesters simply gathering to protest the banning of what's actually called trans care. Oh, I see. The local ABC affiliate did one even better. Governor's plan to ban gender-affirming care drew protesters at Oklahoma Capitol. How are these not just tabloids at this point? How do they continue to try to even remotely pass themselves off as credible journalists? Donald Trump Jr. noticed the, shall we say, inconsistency, tweeting out, "I guess it's not an insurrection if Trans Lives Matter takes over and occupies the Oklahoma Capitol. Apparently the best part of equality is not having to abide by the same rules as others." That's right. That's exactly what many are pointing out here. The inequality of equality, the utter rank hypocrisy of it all. At one level, it can be seen as just another example of how the left is simply unconcerned about any semblance of logical consistency in their life views. The woke left is all about power, nothing more. They're all about destroying everything they possibly can in Western civilization, and in so doing, exercise raw, brute power over that civilization. Gender is fluid, but race is absolutely fixed. If I flow between genders, I'm non-binary, but if I flow between races, suddenly I'm guilty of cultural appropriation. The left has no interest in being consistent. They run around telling us it's absolutely essential. You recognize that you simply cannot define what a woman is all at the same time. They demand that you celebrate the first black woman being appointed to the Supreme Court. So this, shall we say, logical fluidity, this consistent inconsistency, is in turn obviously exploited by the left for political purposes. Burning down cities at the cost of $2 billion worth of damage is a legitimate expression of social justice, while Trump supporters storming the Capitol building is the single greatest threat to our nation since 9/11. And we know why. We actually know precisely where this consistent inconsistency comes from. And you'll definitely want to protect yourself from all of these insane leftist elites by simply clicking on that link below and tapping into the timeless value of gold and silver. As you know, patriots over the centuries have always relied on gold and silver to protect their assets during economic storms, and that is where the amazing patriots over at Goldco come in. If you've got $50,000 or more in an IRA, 401k, or savings account, you need to protect those assets from bumbling Biden's economic insanity with the timeless value of gold and silver. Click on that link below and talk to our good friends over at Goldco. They want you to succeed so much that they're offering you up to $10,000 in free silver if you open up an account with them. That's amazing. $10,000 in free silver, gang. But that is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Click on that link below or visit my special website, turleytalkslikesgold.com. The consistent inconsistency on the left stems from a notion first put forward in a 1965 essay entitled Repressive Tolerance, written by the radical cultural Marxist theorist Herbert Marcuse. Its goal was basically to radically change American culture by tolerating every and all opinions and views espoused by minority groups who were recast in neo-Marxist terms as oppressed victims, all at the same time excluding, or better, canceling anything conservative, anything indicative of defending the dominant ethnocultural group or tradition. So repressive tolerance tolerates anything involving a cultural minority group on the one hand, and represses anything involving the dominant cultural majority on the other. And repressive tolerance did two things over time. First, it set the stage where we could expand the notion of tolerance and, frankly, favoritism to any minority group, even ones we basically invent, any group that the left considers socially disenfranchised. And secondly, the key to beating the dominant cultural group is to silence them. That's the repressive tolerance strategy. So this, in short, is the origin of what we often refer to as woke cancel culture. Wokeness has two fundamental characteristics. It redefines the world as a divide between oppressor and oppressed, victim and victimizer, and it commits itself to silencing, literally canceling, the oppressor, the victimizer. And what's so important here to get is that this oppression, this deliberate silencing, is now considered the greatest moral good in our society, at least by our aristocratic elite. It is indeed a moral imperative. And so acting on this moral imperative is always virtuous, no matter what it does, even if it involves occupying Capitol buildings or burning cities down. While acting against this moral imperative, standing up for and defending our culture, our customs, and our traditions of our nation, that's now considered fundamentally evil. Again, no matter what such defense does. And so there you go. I mean, this consistent inconsistency actually stems from an equally absurd notion of repressive tolerance. Again, the good news here is that this blatant hypocrisy can only last so long. Eventually enough people see it and call it out. That's exactly what we're seeing with otherwise relatively loyal leftists like Bill Maher, Russell Brand, or Jimmy Dore. Those who pride themselves on logical consistency and rationalism, they find all things woke odious. And so the good news is that in the long run, this stuff ends up crushing itself. In the meantime, we got amazing states like Oklahoma who are standing up for the timeless values of faith, family, and freedom. And there is nothing the woke mob can do to stop it. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on the Satanic Grammys. I show you how they were widely reviewed as an absolute embarrassing disaster. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.